Top 10 stones you think are worthless that could make you rich. They were thrown away, misidentified, crushed under bulldozers, or tossed into buckets of gravel. But decades later, those same stones sell for thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars per piece. You've probably walked past one, maybe even skipped one across a creek, because for years these gems were mistaken for glass, river pebbles, or worthless rock. But here's the twist. Collectors know better now, and the market has changed radically. In this countdown, you'll discover 10 stones the world once ignored, but today, they're transforming backyard finds into small fortunes. You won't believe what made them so valuable. Don't forget to press and hold that like button, leave a comment, and hit subscribe before we begin. Ranked 10th, Serpentine, mistaken for jade. For years, Serpentine was nothing more than a throwaway. Miners cracked it open, saw its green, waxy surface, and tossed it aside, believing it was just a cheap jade imitation. And to be fair, it does look like jade. So much so that several museum pieces labeled nephrite or jadeite later became serpentine. But that mistake? It's now costing collectors serious money. Today, high-quality serpentine from regions like Italy, Afghanistan, and China can sell for $100 to $500 per pound. When cut into jewelry-grade cabochons, rare specimens with chatoyancy, a silky cat's eye effect, can reach $150 per carat or more. What makes serpentine valuable isn't just its beauty, it's the story of misjudgment. This stone forms deep within tectonic zones, often near platinum, chromite, or asbestos deposits, making it a geological indicator for larger mineral systems. It's also used in metaphysical circles, prized for its grounding energy. Carvers and sculptors now seek it out, especially varieties with intense apple green tones and minimal inclusions. In short, serpentine was ignored for generations, misunderstood, deemed not worth polishing. But today, the same rock that once collected dust in mine tailings is fetching real money on the collector's market. So the next time you come across a dull green stone labeled unknown, think twice, because the difference between worthless and priceless is often just a second opinion away. Ranked 9th, Chalcedony, the ghost in the gravel. It sat for centuries, mistaken for nothing more than river debris, dull, smooth, and pale as mist. Chalcedony blended in with creek beds, hiding among stones no one cared to name. To most gem hunters of the past, it was invisible. However, invisibility has a way of becoming priceless once the world starts paying attention. Beneath its muted tones lies a miracle of time and chemistry. Chalcedony forms in the hollow cavities of volcanic rock, where silica-rich fluids cool at a molecular pace. This slow formation creates an unusually tight crystal structure, the secret behind its waxy luster and almost dreamlike translucence. Today, the overlooked has become obsessively sought after. Once tossed aside in Namibia, blue lace chalcedony can now command $200 per carat. Peruvian pinks fetch even more on private auction circuits, driven by scarcity and an explosion in designer demand. Luxury ateliers now embed this once dismissed stone into watch faces, bridal jewelry, and museum replicas. In the American Southwest, antique chalcedony cameos, carved over a century ago, many once priced under $10, have crossed the $5,000 mark in estate sales. This shift is no accident. As significant deposits dry up and artificial stones flood the market, collectors chase what feels authentic and unexpectedly rare. What was once just a stone underfoot is now a silent relic of Earth's ancient breath, elevated not by brightness, but by mystery. Ranked 8th, Jet, fossil of sorrow, stone of silence. Jet has long been misunderstood. It is a lightweight black material that floats in salt water, yet is dense with mourning, myth, and ancient memory. For centuries, it was discarded as worthless lignite. Today, it's regarded as a prehistoric gemstone formed not from magma, but from fossilized driftwood buried for over 180 million years. Jet emerges from the pressure-cooked remnants of conifer forests, compressed in sedimentary rock beds. Unlike crystalline gems, it has organic origins, meaning it doesn't shine. It absorbs light. Light vanishes into its surface, making it sacred for royalty in the Victorian era. Its reputation as a stone of grief soared under Queen Victoria, who wore it exclusively during her prolonged mourning for Prince Albert. As demand surged, so did craftsmanship. In the English town of Whitby, jet carving became an industry. Brooches, rosaries, hairpins, all cut from material once mistaken for charcoal. Fast forward to the modern market. Authentic, high-grade Whitby jet can now fetch $60 to $250 per gram, rivaling black tourmaline in value and outpacing obsidian in demand among vintage collectors. The rarity, only a jet that withstands fine carving without cracking, is considered jewelry grade. And most are gone. Today, fake resin floods the market, making the real fossilized jet far more valuable than most suspect. Jewelers test it by scent. Real jet emits a faint, coal-like aroma when touched by a hot needle, while fakes smell of plastic. What was once seen as lifeless debris is now revered as the silence of time, locked in stone. A fossil not of bone but of sorrow made beautiful. Ranked 7th, Prehnite, mistaken for glass. For decades, Prehnite was the wallflower of the mineral world, brushed off as colored bottle glass or an accidental byproduct of mining. Gem dealers left it in bins marked decorative rough. Hikers picked it up, thinking it was sea glass from a broken bottle. But what once seemed familiar now has collectors reevaluating everything. Prehnite forms deep underground in basalt cavities, often alongside zeolites and quartz. Its gentle green glow comes from trace iron and calcium, but unlike peridot or jade, it rarely shouts for attention. The surface is smooth yet pearly, and when polished, its inner world reveals cloud-like inclusions, earning it the nickname grape jade in China. Until recently, most prehnite sold for a few cents per gram. That changed when select deposits in South Africa, Mali, and Australia began producing gem-quality material, translucent, apple green, and ideal for cabochon cuts. Luxury designers now favor prehnite for spiritual-themed collections. In metaphysical circles, it's called the stone of prophecy, and it is said to enhance memory and intuition. That mystical edge and genuine scarcity have pushed prices steadily upward in US and Japanese collector markets. Even museum curators are revisiting older prehnite specimens. Many were mislabeled or discarded in the past. Some are now reappraised at 5 figures based on origin and clarity. From forgotten shelf filler to center stage collectible, prehnite's rise proves one thing. In the world of gemstones, the line between trash and treasure is thinner than anyone dares to admit. Ranked 6th, Fire Agate, hidden flame, hidden fortune. Buried in the blistering deserts of Arizona and northern Mexico lies a gemstone so elusive that even seasoned prospectors call it a mirage in stone. Fire agate doesn't shimmer like opal or glow like garnet. Its magic is subtle, concealed beneath layers of silica. To the untrained eye, it looks like a lump of rusted quartz. But tilt it slightly, and a hidden inferno erupts. Fire agate contains limonite and iron oxide trapped within chalcedony. These microscopic layers diffract light, producing a rare phenomenon called iridescent interference. The result? Flashes of crimson, gold, green, and violet, colors dancing beneath the surface like embers under glass. This optical effect is so difficult to replicate that no synthetic fire agate exists. Each specimen is one of a kind, shaped by volcanic hydrothermal activity over millions of years. Carving it isn't just skill, it's risk. One slip of the lapidary wheel, and the entire pattern disappears forever. Because of this fragility, most fire agate in circulation today remains uncut or tucked away by private collectors. But demand is rising fast. High-grade specimens, especially with full-spectrum iridescence, have reached $150 to $600 per carat, with museum-quality stones fetching far more in silent auctions. What makes fire agate extraordinary isn't just rarity or beauty, it's resistance. This is one of the few gems that, despite its visual intensity, has resisted commodification. No major jewelry houses own it, and no large-scale mines control it. Fire agate is still found with shovels, sweat, and luck. And that makes it valuable, a deep flame waiting only for those who dare to uncover it. Ranked fifth, Rhodochrosite, from ornament to investment. Once dismissed as a collector's curio or museum mineral, rhodochrosite has quietly crossed the threshold from ornamental to opulent. Its soft rose-red hue, sometimes translucent like strawberry glass, sometimes banded like ancient scrolls, has transformed it into one of the most coveted stones in niche jewelry circles. Rhodochrosite is a manganese carbonate mineral formed in silver-rich hydrothermal veins that rarely forms in large, gem-quality crystals. Most deposits crumble or oxidize before reaching the surface, so festival material is exceptionally scarce. When found, it often emerges in fractured shards or stalactitic formations within abandoned silver mines, especially in Argentina and Colorado. At the Sweet Home mine near Alma, Colorado, a single crystal, the size of a clenched fist, was once auctioned for over $1.5 million. Even rough stones suitable for cabochons can command $100 to $600 per carat, particularly when showcasing vivid color and translucence. For comparison, that rivals lower-tier ruby or emerald prices. What triggered this price surge? Two forces: scarcity and sentiment. As mining operations shut down and conservation efforts restricted further extraction, rhodochrosite's availability plummeted. Simultaneously, demand rose among high-end artisans seeking unique centerpieces beyond the predictable sapphire and diamond. The result? Rhodochrosite now appears in high-end brooches, statement rings, and even Rolex custom dials. But its most striking evolution is philosophical. Once carved into cameos and tourist souvenirs, rhodochrosite now symbolizes emotional rarity: grief, joy, memory, frozen in mineral form. It's not just a stone, it's a story. And for those watching market trends, that makes it a quiet titan in the world of alternative gem investment. Ranked fourth, Sphalerite, more brilliant than diamond. Its name barely registers outside of geology circles, yet sphalerite holds a staggering secret. It reflects light with over 3 times the fire of diamonds. With a dispersion rating of 0.156 compared to a diamond's 0.044, it flashes reds, greens, and golds with kaleidoscopic intensity, more like fireworks than stone. But brilliance alone doesn't guarantee fame. Sphalerite, a zinc sulfide mineral, is notoriously soft, just 3.5 to 4 on the Mohs scale, and challenging to cut. For decades, it was ignored as an industrial ore, primarily mined for its zinc content in Spain, Mexico, and the US. Few thought to polish it. Fewer still dared to facet it. That changed in recent years when collectors, frustrated by overpriced diamonds and overexposed sapphires, turned their eyes to the extraordinary. High-quality sphalerite from the Álava mine in northern Spain, where crystals grow in vivid oranges and honey gold, began commanding prices of $150 to $700 per carat, depending on clarity and color depth. What makes it so rare in jewelry is its fragility. Skilled lapidaries can take up to 40 hours to facet a single gem. Yet despite the risk, demand is rising, especially among gemstone investors and avant-garde designers. With limited mining, low global reserves, and a light return that rivals lab-cut moissanite, sphalerite is quietly positioning itself as a luxury collector's stone. In a world saturated with synthetic sparkle, sphalerite's message is clear. True brilliance doesn't always come from hardness, but from daring to shine where others break. Ranked third, amber, fossil resin worth millions. It isn't stone, it isn't crystal. Yet amber has held more value than gold in auctions across Europe and Asia. Formed from the fossilized resin of prehistoric trees, some dating back over 100 million years, amber is less a mineral than a time capsule. What gives it value isn't just age, but what it traps. Inside its golden depths lie perfectly preserved insects, plant fragments, and even feathers from long-extinct birds. These inclusions turn a lightweight chunk of resin into a scientific relic and a collector's obsession. The most prized specimens come from the Baltic region and the Dominican Republic, where transparent amber with rare fossil content has fetched over $40,000 per piece. In one case, a piece of Burmese amber containing a dinosaur tail segment sold for nearly $1.5 million. But it's not just paleontologists who are buying. In luxury markets, amber has returned as a symbol of organic prestige. Designers now use polished cabochons in gold bezel pendants, and artisans in Japan and Germany carve whole bangles from single nodules, each worth thousands. Amber weighs lightly in the hand but not in price. Rare varieties like blue amber, which fluoresces under UV light, can command prices from $20 to $400 per gram, eclipsing many fine sapphires. This golden resin was burned as incense or worn as amulets for centuries. Today it sits in display cases under lock and key, labeled not just by carat weight, but by what era of life it holds inside. In a market obsessed with perfection, amber sells because of its flaws, because each crack, each trapped creature, is a moment frozen in time and priced accordingly. Ranked second, Labradorite, the hidden light. At first glance, the Labradorite appears muted, just another grayish feldspar, but tilted ever so slightly, and it erupts in an optical firestorm. Flashes of electric blue, emerald green, and sunset gold shimmer across its surface. This phenomenon, known as labradorescence, isn't paint, pigment, or trickery. Its light is refracted through microscopic mineral layers, like prisms buried in stone. Discovered along the icy shores of Labrador, Canada in the 18th century. Labradorite was once discarded by miners hunting for copper and iron, but today it's one of the most sought-after mystic stones in high-end jewelry, spiritual collections, and designer sculpture. The most coveted specimens come from Finland's spectrolite mines, where the color play is so intense that it's mistaken for digital enhancement. Pieces with full-spectrum colors, violet, orange, and teal, can fetch upwards of $500 per carat in designer markets. Artisans carve labradorite into polished slabs, free-form pendants, and even gemstone furniture. And while it's not rare geologically, top-quality material without fractures or clouding is becoming scarcer by the year. Some deposits in Madagascar and Russia have already peaked in production. What sets labradorite apart isn't just its surreal beauty and refusal to reveal it all at once. It hides in plain sight, waiting for light to hit it just right. And when it does, what was once overlooked becomes unforgettable. It's not just a stone. It's a reminder that brilliance doesn't always shout. Sometimes it waits in silence until someone knows how to look. In first place, Andalusite, color trick worth a fortune. Among stones long dismissed as decorative filler, one holds a secret that defies the laws of perception. Andalusite, often mistaken for smoky quartz or low-grade tourmaline, doesn't just reflect light, it rewrites it. Tilt it once, it's olive green. Again, it turns reddish-brown. Another angle, and suddenly, it's both at once. This chameleon-like effect isn't a marketing gimmick, it's trichroism, a rare optical property where three distinct colors emerge depending on your viewpoint. Initially found in Andalusia, Spain, the gem sat idle for decades in mineral trays and museum drawers. It lacked the sparkle of a diamond and the fire of an opal. Jewelers ignored it, and collectors overlooked it. But then came the scientific revival, and with it, a new generation of luxury designers saw in Andalusite something no other gem could offer. A color story that moves with the wearer. High-grade Andalusite is now being cut with advanced optical orientation, making its color play almost animated. Stones over 3 carats with strong trichroism now demand $1,000 to $2,500 per carat in elite collector auctions. Brazilian mines that once sold it by the sack now auction top material individually, often to buyers from Japan, the US, and Europe. Its value isn't just visual, it's a narrative. Each piece is a conversation, an illusion, a shift in truth. In a world chasing sparkle and clarity, Andalusite wins with ambiguity. It's not loud, it's not apparent, and that's what makes it unforgettable. It was never worthless, just unrecognized, until now. What was forgotten in riverbeds, mine dumps, or museum drawers now commands headlines, collectors, and six-figure price tags. These weren't just rocks. They were undervalued chapters in Earth's story, waiting for someone to read them correctly. And perhaps that's the real lesson. Value isn't always obvious, but it's always there, if you know how to look. So before discarding the next pale stone or skipping it across a creek, take a closer look. It might just be a fortune in disguise. Let us know which resonates with you in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.